Well, guys, it's finally here. The Dark Souls Remastered Network Stress Test. We made it. We made it! We've only got like 20-something days left before we can actually play this. Yay! Look at the fun we're having. Yay! In all honesty, I'm in a great mood. So the point of this video is going to be looking at mechanical differences between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 1 Remastered. Now, during the course of this, I will also be talking about Dark Souls 3 PvP mechanics, because that's where the bulk of my audience comes from, I think, is Dark Souls 3 players. Now, if I say some stuff that you think everybody should know, or if I don't say something that I should touch on, I apologize right off the bat. So know that this isn't going to be perfect, and I'm not a Dark Souls 1 PvP pro, not by a long shot. The first time I really actually gave Dark Souls 1 PvP, like a real in-depth look, was about 8 months ago. And it wasn't, it was just like a couple playthroughs and me doing a bunch of PvP afterwards. So, I'm not going to be perfect, but I hope to get this information to you, and you can use it. So right off the bat, one thing stood out to me. They did not change the percentage of equipment that allowed you to medium roll. So everybody was playing pretty much naked. Also, everybody was here. Like, everybody. The Platinum 7, I was watching Revion's stream while I played this. I had an invasion with Iron Pineapple. I was watching Ouroboros stream while I did. Everybody was doing this. So it was a lot of fun. This is the Platinum 7. I'm sure a lot of you guys know him. If not, check out his YouTube channel, because he's got a lot of great content on there. So everybody was doing this, and that actually had me a little concerned at first, because it seemed like it was mostly PvPers trying this out, and not so much, regular folks. But that seemed to have changed. So I got Platinum with a backstab chain there, and then he gets me on Wake Up with the backstab. Now he's using the Black Knight sword, which is only one class started with the Red Eye Orb, and that was the Black Knight. So the Black Knight sword is broke as hell early game, and this is true even in Dark Souls 1 not remastered. Early game, these weapons just do insane damage. I killed Lautrec in 3 hits, so I could go ahead and get the Ring of Favor, which was, absolutely necessary. There were 2 spawn locations in the game. There were 2 spawn points, and I hope that's not how the game ends up. I hope they mix that up, because spawn campers ganking at the spawn location, that was very real. It happened a lot. Now I'm using the Baldur Side Sword and the Black Knight Shield, because that was the kind of stuff I wanted to, that was what I wanted to use. But the Black Knight Sword, being an absolute doomsday weapon, became a necessity. You had to spawn in with your Black Knight Sword in case this happened, basically. The Black Knight Sword allows you to kill phantoms in 2 or 3 hits. So I really hope this isn't end result, final product. The spawn camping that's terrible. Having 2 spawn locations for invaders, that's just awful. Dumb idea. But I tried to, I was trying not to rely on the Black Knight Sword, because it was so much stronger than everything else in the game. But the Invader class, and this is important, the Invader class started with, the strongest weapon, which I think is a great takeaway for people. That invaders are going to be strong. They're going to be prepared. They're going to know what they're doing, and you're going to need to beat the invader with, with numbers. If they're more prepared than you, if they're a quote twink and you don't like that, you've got the numbers to beat them. The invader will be prepared, and I think that was a really great I think that was a really great idea to start that invader class off with really strong starting gear. Iron Pineapple giving me a backstab. I don't know why. I guess he just wanted to backstab everybody. I'm sure it will be a hot fire meme video. So thank you. I get to be in it, I guess. Speaking of backstabs, this game is an absolute backstab fest. Nothing has changed in that regard. It is all backstabs all the goddamn time. And I know you Dark Souls 3 PvP babies who've never had to deal with that are saying, oh no! Having said that, it's not that difficult to learn how to avoid getting backstabbed. Now, if you play a quote-unquote lifer who's been playing this game and they know everything about it, then yes, you're going to get backstabbed a lot. And they're going to make you feel like you don't know what you're doing, because you don't. But it's not hard to learn how to not get backstabbed. I cannot make that... I just... Please understand that. It's a big portion of this game, but it's not the only portion. My Discord popped off. Sorry. Now, as far as other mechanics, I couldn't tell if I was invading worlds because of Dried Finger. In Dark Souls 3 and in Bloodborne you can only invade co-opers except in certain areas. In Dark Souls 3, invasions prioritize dried-fingered worlds, or worlds with phantoms. I honestly couldn't tell if that was the case. I invaded a lot of solo hosts. I invaded a lot of, two-man groups. I invaded a few 3- and 4-man groups. I'm not convinced that Dried Finger is prioritized for invasions. Keep in mind, anything could change between now and the next 2 weeks. They could change that. Who knows? But let's assume it stays as is. I didn't feel like my invasions prioritized co-opers. It really sort of felt random. Random invasions. So a lot of, for those of you who don't know, you're going to see me backstabbing people, and then you're going to see me stand behind them, and you're going to see me press parry, and then you're going to see me backstab them again. What's happening is I'm buffering that backstab with that parry. It's a very common backstab chain mechanic. Is there a way to get out of it? Is it a guaranteed free backstab after a backstab? No, it's not. Yes, there is a way to get out of it. We can go over all of that once the game comes out. It's basically rock, paper, scissors. I know I say that a lot on this channel. It's basically rock, paper, scissors on what your opponent's going to do after they backstab you. Assuming your opponent knows what they're doing. Now, having said that, backstabs are an invader's they're going to be an invader's best friend when you're fighting against this many people. And they can all heal themselves, because keep in mind, in the original Dark Souls, that's not the way it worked. The host had to heal his phantoms. That's not the way it works anymore. So being able to bounce from one person to the other and just backstabbing the shit out of absolutely everybody, that's gonna be a big deal for invaders. It's gonna help you out a lot. You see me do the third R1 parry on the straight sword. You saw that? So that's still the same for you Dark Souls 3 people, Dark Souls 2 people, it's, with a medium shield. Keep in mind, though, in Dark Souls 1, medium shield parry frames start up instantly. So that's, they start up quick, meaning you press parry and you are immediately in parry frames almost, like that. So you still going to parry the third R1 on the straight sword from R1 spammers, Dark Souls 3 people. That's still there. Keep in mind, there's active poise. That didn't change at all. So, you're going to be able to swing your straight sword through stuff, but at the same time, straight swords are not going to stagger you, I kind of min-maxed my armor just a little bit. I tried to still be fashionable. But, poise, armor, none of that changed. It's all the same, which means, yes, there are poise backstabs, which I think is hilarious that people want poise, but they don't like weird backstabs. You know what I mean? It's one comes with the other. They exist together. If you want poise, then you're going to have people poise backstabbing you, and it's going to look stupid. That's okay, you know what I mean? Like, but everybody in the fucking world cried when poise doesn't work in Dark Souls 3. Everybody cried. It works now, okay? As a result, expect to get poise backstabbed. You asked for it, you got it. Now, keep in mind, FromSoft has very little to do with what's going on here. This is all Q-Lock. But it doesn't look like they've changed much. I will say this. Nothing infinite stun locked me. Is toggle escape still in the game? Yes, it is. Toggle escape still exists. But nothing infinite stun locked me. Not the Claymore, not the Black Knight Sword. Sweet little weapon swap there. Did you see that? I'm bad as hell. I was working on my tech. The infinite stun lock mechanic might still be in the game, but so is toggle escaping. So that's still there. You don't have to worry about that. Let's talk about something that's not in the game. It seems dead angling. I could not dead angle anybody to save my life. So I don't know if I was doing it wrong. I'll have several examples of it for you guys to look at, and you guys can tell me, hey Saint, you were doing it wrong. That's not how you dead angle. Okay, cool. Maybe dead angling's still in the game. I couldn't make it happen though. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. That's a roll backstab. Looks terrible even on my screen, but that's how they work. Notice how my opponent didn't panic there and my chain backstab didn't work at first? That's what you're supposed to do. Now, he seems to be dead angling and I'm not parrying him. So maybe that's working. But I also wasn't taking a lot of damage. And when you parry, you still have block frames. So it looked like he was attempting to dead angle. I wasn't able to parry it. Maybe my parries weren't on time, though. But I'm just saying, didn't look like he was dead angling much. Didn't look like it was helping him much as far as getting around my shield. He was spamming R1. I was spamming parry. He was dead angling. I didn't notice the dead. It did not appear to me as if his dead angles helped him in any way, shape, or form. Now, the Black Knight Sword just did so much damage. I mean, look at it. It's ridiculous. It's basically like a gemmed out Bloodborne twink weapon. It's ridiculous how much damage it does. So against people who were using it, I almost felt like I had to use it. I didn't want to use it. It's a good weapon. It's awesome. I had a lot of fun with it. But it just kills people so quick. Now, having said that, you know, if they were using it, I'm going to use it. You know what I mean? So it felt like a lot of people... It felt like a lot of the people I was fighting weren't interested in testing stuff out. It seemed like they just wanted to like actually play the game and win. You know, like they wanted to win their invasion, or they wanted to win this or that. Don't get me wrong, that's fine. But I was really interested in testing stuff out. So anytime I could find somebody who looked like they were, you know, willing to give it a go, I would just try and test some stuff out with them. Or maybe on them. Maybe they were unsuspecting or whatever. You know, maybe they were unwilling. But either way, if they weren't using the Black Knight Sword, I felt like, okay, well, I can try some stuff with this person. So you can see he's parrying, and I'm doing very little damage as he tries to parry, because the shield still has like the block frames. And shields are so good in this game if they got rid of dead angling. Again, I cannot guarantee you that they got rid of dead angling, but it really seriously felt like they got rid of dead angling. And if that's the case, shields are going to be really, really good in this game. Really, really good. On the cusp of broken, even. You've seen me trying to kick his shield. a good shield has good stability, and it's hard to break someone's guard. Okay, let's say you do break their guard. What happens then? Not much. You can't, riposte them. You can't do a critical attack. All you can do is, get maybe like one R1 off, and maybe they're in instability frames or something, and they take some extra damage or whatever. But I you know what I mean? Like, that's not. Shields are good, especially if they got rid of dead angling. Especially if they got rid of dead angling. Now, in that situation, the charged R2 on my Black Knight sword was going to break his guard, so it, went ahead and did the knockdown, I guess, or maybe it was because it was going to kill him, it went ahead and did the knockdown. I'm not sure. So, you can get through shields against a bad turtle. It's going to be the good turtles you have to worry about. That's another thing to keep in mind. Everything in this game can be parried except for jump attacks. So, keep that in mind. Now, since his Phantom is dead, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the sword and board. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we test out dead angles on this player. Here we go. Yeah. He's not taking any damage. His shield appeared to block all that damage, even though I think I was pretty sure I was dead angling. That's how I've always dead angled. And it didn't seem to do any damage through his shield. Now then a second invader showed up and just killed him, so we didn't get to test it as long as I would have liked to. But that's okay. I think we test it again a little later on in the video. Now, Solaire here, Naked Solaire, is using the Claymore. And if I'm not mistaken, the Claymore is capable of infinite stun lock. I think. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a Dark Souls 1 expert. My point is, a lot of people, the Solaire starting class started with the Claymore. And I never got stun locked to death. I could always roll out after the first R1. Now, that changes the moment you're in a group stun lock. Who can say what's going to happen? So for those situations, yes, toggle escape does still exist. You can still toggle escape if you want to get out of like multiple people stun locking you. But if it looks like they fixed anything, maybe they fixed infinite stun lock, and maybe they fixed dead angling. And when I say fixed, I realize some of you might say, I didn't want them to fix that. And I'm just saying, in terms of quote-unquote broken mechanics, it looks like they fixed that. But they left toggle escape alone, which is curious. Again, anything could change between here and there. There being the release date, here being today's date. Now, as far as parries go, with great swords, it's almost like you can parry them on reaction. It's crazy. You see me trying to do a setup parry right there? I'm actually parrying too early. I'm used to 1 Dark Souls 3 latency, and then 2 on top of that, the Dark Souls 1 latency, which would have me parrying before I realize before I can see the attack. That's not really the case anymore. It's almost like you can wait until you see the attack. I know on one particular fight, I actually did that. I was fighting somebody who was using the Claymore, and I waited until the second attack actually started, and then I pressed parry, and I got the parry. And it absolutely blew my mind that I was parrying a greatsword on reaction with a medium shield. But again, it's instant parry frames, so keep that in mind. That R2 just will fully wipe somebody out. There you see I killed a Phantom, so I gained an Estus. Now here's what's great. Your Estus is halved as an invader, alright? Just like it is in Dark Souls 3. Which means if you've kindled a bonfire, you're going to start with, you have 10 Estus. But then you go invade, you have 5. In the demo, the invader class did not have the right of kindling. Other classes had it, but the invader did not. So the invader, the most Estus he could start with, or the most Estus he could have, was 10. Alright, well, when you go invade, it goes to 5. But then let's say you've got 5. Let's say you have 5 Estus and you kill a Phantom, and you haven't used any Estus yet. Then you get 6. So you can get more than your max. You can get more than you started with, which is cool. Especially if you're going to be killing, fighting groups of like 3 and 4 people. It's nice to know that the invader can get more than 5. Now, if the invader has the Rite of Kindling and had 20 Estus, would they start with 10? That remains to be seen. We don't know yet. So here I'm trying my toggle escapes. Keep in mind, this is not something that I know a lot about. But I get the basics, you know what I mean? Like, I understand the basics of how it works. Eventually, I let somebody hit me just so I could toggle escape out of it, and it does work. Right there. That's a working toggle escape. I did not get stunned when he hit me. Now, it doesn't serve a lot of purpose if there's no infinite stun lock. But, you know what I mean? Like, infinite stun lock will always exist because of multiple Phantoms. As an invader fighting 3 people who can't hit each other, multiple people hitting you results in infinite stun lock. So, you do have the toggle escape method to get out. Toggle escaping does still work. I'm just not sure it's useful 1v1 for anything. If there's no infinite stun lock, there's no need for toggle escape. But, you know what I mean? Like, I'll take it. I'm glad we still have it. Just an absolute backstab fest. So, for those of you who are Dark Souls 1 PvP fans, or people who want to actually experience, authentic Dark Souls 1 PvP, you'll get a chance to. However, you are going to have to deal with the Dark Souls 3 up to 4 cooperators, playing together. You're going to have to deal with that, but you do get the quote-unquote authentic experience, which I know a lot of people wanted. I know not everybody did, but if you're on team, hey, give me authentic backstab chains, then congratulations, you've won. Right there, I went for a lazy ollie, which is just a backstep when someone's running towards you. I was going to try and backstab him, but he backstabbed me, which is, that's fine. We're going to let him... I'm letting him finish this enemy off so that we can have like I can actually spend more time testing stuff. Third R1 parried it, just like you would in Dark Souls 3. Except, in Dark Souls 3, sometimes you'll miss it. That does not appear to be the case in Dark Souls 1. It was super easy to parry that. Oh yeah, weapon swaps, because I'm a badass. It's honestly super easy to do weapon swaps and armor swaps in Dark Souls 1. But yeah, it's fun. There you see me. I hit the shield 3 times and kicked it, and I never broke his guard. Shields are good. Shields are going to be really good. If I'm not mistaken, this is the fight where I parry on reaction a greatsword. Yeah. See, you can see me trying to preempt like, I'm preemptively parrying, trying to predict when that parry is going to come out. There's a nice toggle escape. Didn't need to do it, but I did it. Again, still trying to predict it. And then finally, I was like, what if I just try and parry it on reaction? Still, that was a prediction. It's hard to break yourself of that. But there it is. On reaction, you can parry a greatsword. Which is pretty crazy. Now, if any of you Dark Souls 1 hotshots see some shit going on in these invasions, and I'm not calling attention to it, or there's some technique that I'm, missing out, or I'm not saying, hey, get in the comments and feel free to let me know, because I am not a Dark Souls 1 PvP guru. I don't know a whole lot about it. All I know is the stuff that I've known. So keep that in mind. If you guys see some stuff, if you see some technique that you're like, oh wow, and I'm not even discussing it or talking about it, then feel free to let me know in the comments, for sure, because I want to know. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to be able to. I want all the information out there as much as possible. I know everybody else right now is saying this game doesn't look good, or this game looks great. I don't give a shit about that. I'm just excited to be invading in a world full of people. Oh my god, new game. It's an old game, but it's a new game. Finally. I love Dark Souls 1. This was the game that got me started in Souls. So to be able to go back and look at that fucking weapon's ridiculous. So to be able to go back and play it, and that seemed to be a true combo, by the way. I tried it on a couple of people. People tried it on me and I got out of it. But I tried it on some people and it worked. Who knows? Here's the stats they gave you if you started as a Black Knight. This is the only class that starts with the Red Eye Orb. You can see my poise is at 33 after I got done min-max and everything the way I wanted it, which is not... I don't even know if that's a good poise break point. I have no idea. Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been insightful. I hope it's helped. Again, keep in mind, all I care about is whether or not, I'm going to have fun invading people in a living game and get to re-experience Dark Souls 1 without having to go to my PlayStation 3 to do it. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, I have a full-time job. I can afford to buy this and not feel like it's a waste. If people feel differently, that's fine, and I understand. But this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. 4v2, you know what I mean? In the parish, an honest-to-God invasion. Man, and this felt like early Dark Souls 3 days to me. I loved it. I was so excited to have, an honest-to-God invasion experience brought back. And it's like, I don't care what game it's in. I can't stress that. If you're like me, you don't give a shit if it's in Bloodborne or Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 3. Because it's about the experience of doing invasions. Or, if you're the opposite of me, doing co-op. But living... breathing game full of players, full of people playing. That's what it's about, and that's what I've enjoyed. So I loved the absolute crap out of this network test. I tried to do as much helpful stuff as I could. I don't know if anybody else is doing these kind of videos, but if they are, please link me in the comments. Let me know, because I want to try and learn as much as I can, and I'd like to help spread that good information. I hope this video has helped you. I hope you enjoyed the content. Yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll see you again real soon. Later, y'all.